Art is too important not to share. Welcome to the Allie and Callie Artcast.
Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie. Hello, everyone.
Hello, welcome to the Artcast. We are in Mazama.
That's right, Mama. We're in Mazama.
But Mazama, Washington.
Yes.
Don't be confused with
it's
Alabama.
It's not Mazama. It's Mazama.
That's right. Rhymes with pajama.
Yes. And we are having the best time here.
We are.
First of all, this country is so beautiful. Who knew? I did not.
Right. It's gorgeous.
And we're having a lovely day. It rained for a split second.
Right.
Got a little windy and a little cold, and now the sun is shining and it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
We're out here in someone's studio. We'll mention in a little bit.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
In a minute, but we're Mazama. No,
Mazama
means goat, we think, but we don't know 100%.
We don't know for sure.
So look it up, listeners.
Look it up. Meanwhile, we have been treated to the donuts of Orchard House, we went to the farmer's market this morning and we see this one booth that has this mile-long line.
And we're like,
no, we're not standing in line
we don't
for that.
stand in line.
It turns out that the townspeople show up for these donuts.
They know.
They are so good.
Once a week.
They
make these special donuts.
And they're completely made
homemade.
With
beautiful
every ingredient.
So the one that is my favorite is called the Rosie, and I believe it has rose oil, pistachio, and is it lavender? I don't know. It's so good.
It's good.
It's delicious.
But the one that I loved is gone.
So you'll never know.
That's right.
But dang, it was good.
Damn it.
Damma in Mazama.
Damma in Mazama.
Damma, those donuts are good. They're so good. Yep. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So if you're ever now that was in Winthrop.
No, that was in Twisp.
Oh, it was in Twisp?
That's where the farmer's market was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
See, I can't remember where we are most of the time.
It's okay, Callie.
It's the age. It's really catching up. It's really hard for me. But anyway.
Well,
it's lovely.
Yeah.
And we really want to thank Janet Fagan,
whose studio we are sitting in,
and
who introduced us to and made us feel really stupid that we didn't stand in that line and get donuts this morning.
Truly the best donut I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, for
is
sure.
Sitting in front of me, and I'll probably eat the rest of that one.
Okay.
Anyway,
thank you, Janet, for letting us invade your studio.
Oh, it's not an invasion. It's a true pleasure. I'm over here just laughing.
Well, we do like to have a little fun.
We do. But, oh my gosh, your studio is amazing. You have a great site here, and I can't...
You are out in the middle of nowhere, basically, but beautiful nowhere.
It's like the mountains, and I hear water.
Yes, there's a creek right behind us, Goat Creek, and you will probably hear we have a pair of pileated that have been dancing around this morning, and we will probably hear them as we're chatting.
Oh, that's great.
Well, I can not edit that out.
No, it's beautiful. Well, I love your studio, and so you're a mixed media artist. So
I am.
Tell us your background and what got you interested in being an artist?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, well, my mom was probably to blame because she was a career artist, and when I was small, she used to tell me her mantra was, you have to learn to entertain yourself. So I learned early on that when Mom was in the studio, I needed to find something else to do, and she would facilitate that by giving me these boxes of just scrap art materials and with no instruction, just telling me to sit with these things and figure out how to be creative with them. And so I would just start making things, and that was absolutely wonderful. And the other thing that went hand in hand with that was a lot of outdoor time. So I grew up in a small town in Florida, and my
cool. There it is. Can you hear that bird? That is so cool. Oh, I love it.
And my parents encouraged me to get out of the house as much as possible. And, back in the 70s when I was growing up, you could do that and just roam. And so I would be outside, and we lived right on the beach for a big portion of the year, the Gulf of Mexico. And there were coastal dune lakes, freshwater coastal dune lakes, and pine forests, and then the beach. So there was this layered ecosystem that I could explore. And that not only fueled my creativity, but it also just gave me early on a deep appreciation for wildlands and nature.
Oh, yeah.
And I love being connected to the earth.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. So I would go out in the morning and just have to be back by dinner.
Yeah, back in those days.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So lots of free time.
Yeah.
I grew up in Virginia, and we had old Civil War battlefields behind us, and we would leave in the morning and come back in the evening. And when my kids were growing up, I said, Mom, how did you not go crazy not knowing where we were? And my mother is also an artist and a bit of an airhead. And she said, well, the dog was with you. I was pretty sure the dog would come and get me if anything was a problem.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Well, whatever.
A lot of faith in your doggy friend.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, so yes, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and then I ended up deciding, in my teenage years that I wanted to be an artist for sure as a career. And my parents were just really supportive. I went off to art school at 17 and, first tried to go to school at a Florida school for a year, and all of those teachers were like, you are at the wrong school.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Go to Philadelphia to the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Art. And so that's what I did. And that's where I got my undergraduate there through the University of Pennsylvania, and then went on to get my master's degree at the Art Institute of Boston a little bit later. And and I've just worked as a studio artist and as a teaching artist ever since then.
That's great.
No looking back.
That's right. You taught school.
Well, I didn't teach
Or
school.
not
I was
school,
never
but-
I was never trained as an educator. So I went to school for studio art, so for painting, for printmaking, for drawing. But I worked as a teaching artist in museum education primarily.
Oh,
so
wow.
Working in museums, going into schools as a specialist, so things like that over the years.
Oh, cool.
That's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but always consistently working in my studio, finding ways to exhibit my work, making huge efforts to sell my work. And, it's over the years, it's turned into a career that I just cherish. And I feel so fortunate now at this stage of the game, 35 years in, to be able to make a living without having to teach. So I can make a living as a studio artist, which has always been my dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. That's awesome. So what took you to Seattle?
Well, my family is originally from Seattle.
Okay.
So we wound up in Florida because my father was in the military and he was stationed there. But the Northwest was always, where everybody else was, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my grandparents. So we would come back to the Northwest every summer to visit and spend, several weeks here at a time. And I fell in love with it. So when I was going to college in Philadelphia, I decided that I wanted to go west to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
How did you find Mazama?
Mazama. Well, I don't know. It's been about between 15, 16, 17 years ago, something like that. I'd have to do the math. I met my current partner, James. And he had been coming out here, as had our other friends, and I knew nothing about the Methow Valley. It wasn't on my radar. And they brought me out here and introduced me to cross-country skiing, which I had never done before.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And
It's hard.
it is difficult, but
hard.
I
It's good for you, though.
fell in love with the challenge, fell in love with it, fell in love with this area. And we just started coming out here 5, 6, 7, a dozen times a year and spending all of our money on renting places to stay. And I got involved with the arts community and started exhibiting out here. And then I even started volunteering out here before we were living out here there. But by that time, because I just fell head over heels in love with the community. And I just felt so at home here. And James and I just decided that we were barely spending any time in Seattle, and we just needed to refocus our priorities.
Right.
So we bought a piece of land and basically traded our Seattle home for the house that you see here right now. And so as soon as we could, James was the general contractor for a big chunk of that, and he did a lot of the work himself, but we also worked with incredible contractors here in the Valley. And after about 5 years, we had a place to live. So James camped out in it before we were actually living here. and I did too a little bit, but as soon as we could, we sold the Seattle house and just came all the way over. Yeah.
And you built this awesome studio space, which is great.
Yes, I feel so lucky. I love it.
To be up high too. I love that.
I know. So you've got a great view, and
I love being able to just go out the door and feel so refreshed, to be able to trail run or bike right from home, to be able to swim in the lakes, to be able to hike in the mountains. It's just to be able to ski in the winter. It's just, and then still work in the same day. You know, it's fantastic. So I can get up early, do the outside stuff, and then work, and then, go to bed at 8:00.
Oh, you're my kind of person.
Yeah. That's the way we roll.
That's right.
Oh, wow. The Ovation Company, in partnership with the Chalkboard Agency, is committed to improving the climate and culture of our schools. The number one indicator for student success is connectedness, feeling like you are part of something. Nothing helps connect people like a good story. After all, isn't a podcast a way to share and collect stories? The Chalkboard Agency's mission is to connect the world of education through the stories that bond us all. To find out more, visit thechalkboardagency.com. And if you have a story to tell that you believe would help young people to be kinder to one another, reach out to the Chalkboard Agency and let us connect you to the world.
Greetings, listeners of the Allie and Callie Artcast podcasts. This is Jason from Tubbs Coffee Roasters. Keeping art alive and culture relevant is the heart and soul of our community of creatives. And as a local coffee roaster who loves a good origin story of a painter or a farmer or a musician, we proudly support the Allie and Callie's Artcast podcast's expansion and exploration through positive conversation. So grab a cup of coffee, preferably one from Tubbs Coffee Roasters, and tune in, humans. Your ears will thank you.
Well, let's talk about your medium a little bit, or your many mediums.
Yes.
And your process.
Okay. I love to experiment and work with many different things. I would say the media that I work with the most would be woodblock printing and painting. So basically, and painting either with water medium like inks or watercolors, acrylics, or oil paints. And what I really love to do is start with just a feeling. Like, a lot of my work comes from the time that I spend outdoors. I love to move around outside in many different ways. And when I'm out there, I'll just catch myself oohing and aahing, or feeling like incredible bliss, or being deeply moved by something that I see. And when that happens, I try and carry that back to the studio. And I might take notes, or I might take pictures, or I might do sketches, and just sort of try to capture the essence of the feeling that I had when I was in nature, and something filled me with awe or just a deep appreciation. And then I come back and I try to let all of that go, and I'll just start applying paint to a canvas. And it's sort of like looking at clouds and finding what resonates and starting to build layers. And so once I get to a certain point in a painting, I'll consider if drawing into it in a linear way might be something that I want to do. And one way that I like to accomplish that, to juxtapose like linear graphic drawing with really painterly application, is to collage woodblock printing into the paintings.
Oh, cool.
And this can work a whole lot of different ways. Sometimes I'll actually do a woodblock print first. Like if I had an encounter in nature that was, really memorable, I might come home and learn how to draw that bird or that animal. And so that will be a lot of time in my sketchbook and looking at reference pictures and just figuring out how things fit together and what distinguishing elements they have that I might want to carry over into my work. And then do a drawing on a board and carve out all of the negative space and then print the wood block and on transparent paper and then collage that into the painting.
Oh, wow.
And then paint on top of that.
Cool.
And then that process of kind of painting abstractly, finding something within that or adding a woodblock print or a drawing and then painting again, that's sort of my favorite way to work. So I work like that quite a bit. The other thing I love to do is just work super, super minimally in a sumi-e sort of style, which is basically Japanese brush painting. And so I'll just take black ink and a sumi brush. And what I love about working in this manner is that like woodblock carving, it's very meditative, and every brush stroke is a breath. It has such a strong contrast to the way that I paint, because I paint standing up, listening to music very actively. But when I do my sumi-e painting, it's all about quiet and stillness and meditation and really focusing on, I want this brush stroke to be this, and then focusing and creating that stroke and repeat. Because you can't change it. The brushstroke is what it is.
Right.
So I love going back and forth between working really actively and then working very meditatively. And the painting in the woodblock print does that as well. And for me, that keeps me really satisfied and feeling balanced. So that's right. Kind of in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well, very creative in two different sides. You can be a little more free. It sounds like with the mixed media, you can just create as you go, and then I love that the stillness,
a little more focus.
Yes,
that's great.
So it's like you're going all out and then you're pulling back. Then you're going all out, then you're pulling back.
Right.
That's kind of how it feels.
I was really struck by all the layers that you talk about, that you put into your paintings. And I remember when I was in art classes, my instructor, Allie Vogt, was always talking about layers. Let's layer. And the coolest project we ever did was she put a projected image on the wall that was very blurry. Ooh. And we started painting that, and every day that we'd meet, she would unblur it just a little bit.
Cool.
So we did not know what we
you were painting. Oh, that's cool.
But that made you start very general and then work to refine.
Yeah.
Which is perfect.
It was a really great exercise.
Yeah. I love that.
That's fun.
I love that.
And then it caused us to continue to put layers and layers on, which was really cool.
And working loose to tight like that, I think, is so beautiful. And then not being afraid to lose it all, not being afraid to put another layer over it and take out, your 6 layers that are.
What was I thinking?
It's okay. Exactly. I know, it's not working.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. So I read that you use, in some of your teaching, is it kind of therapeutic with certain, I don't know if it was a group or you work with
at-risk youth.
At-risk. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I've done, so my introduction to teaching was in Philadelphia when the Jesuit community actually reached out to the school that I was in, and they were looking for teaching artists to come and work with kids in North Philly that were struggling. And so I got tapped for that, and I said yes. I had never taught before. And I went into the situation where these kids were just forgotten. They didn't have resources. They didn't believe in themselves. They didn't have any sort of identity as creatives or artists. They were very defensive with people that they didn't know because there wasn't really trust. So going into that situation and being able to build trust and build relationships and see the incredible growth that came through these young people trusting and expressing themselves and starting to shape identity through a creative outlet was game changing for me.
Yeah.
So when I saw that was possible,
Yeah.
when I moved to the West Coast, I immediately started contracting with a school called Youth Advancement Through Music and Art, and started working with young people in foster care, and that were in all kinds of really difficult situations. And that was one of the locations that we could teach, was hosted at the Seattle Art Museum. And so that led to, I was observed by an educator there teaching my classes, and they asked me if I wanted to be an artist in residence at the museum. And so that started the beginning of a long, beautiful relationship that I had with Sam as a teaching artist. But out of all of that, I think my favorite kind of teaching that I'm still doing today is working with adults that are struggling with Alzheimer's. And I'm doing that here in the Valley, but my work with that population started because of my mom, who I told you earlier was a professional artist, and she developed dementia in her older years, and lost her identity, lost her connection to being an artist, which was full on who she was, but she couldn't remember creating paintings. She couldn't remember doing that work. And so sitting with her and finding a way to access that part of her identity, which took some time and some effort, but it was really beautiful when that would happen. She could be in the moment when she was creating work. And that was one of the only times that she could really track an activity. And that blew my mind and blew open my heart and made me want to continue doing that work. So after she passed, I actually approached the Fry in Seattle because they were doing creative aging work as a program, and I started volunteering for them and then eventually contracting with them. And now I'm doing that work here in the Valley through Methow at Home.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's so fun. Oh my God.
Yeah, I bet.
It's so beautiful to work with our elders.
Yeah. I think everyone is dealing with someone in their family who has dementia.
Right.
I've got a father-in-law. Kristen's got an aunt. Everyone has something. Are there resources that people can use or tools to use to maybe find art for them that art or music or
Absolutely. If you're in the Methow Valley, you can contact Methow at Home.
Okay.
And they have wonderful programming that you can access through them. But outside of the Valley, if that's not convenient, there is an online resource that I'd love to share. It's through the Fry Art Museum.
Okay.
And they have a phenomenal creative aging program. And online, they have on their website, they have a creative aging section, and it is filled with resources. So, for example, there are videos. You'll actually see me in some of these videos introducing caregivers to art lessons that they can use with their loved ones or their friends.
Oh, wow.
That's
that
great.
would be a tremendous resource for nursing homes and
Absolutely.
just individuals who are dealing with that.
And the videos are fantastic because they start at the very beginning, like how to set up an art studio, how to make an art kit, how to communicate with your loved one. Here are some lessons. Or do you want to use music? There are videos of sing-alongs that you can use with your friends and loved ones. So I would highly encourage people, if they're curious, to check out the creative aging work that the Fry does.
Oh, that sounds great.
Is that FRYE?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Somehow I knew that. That's got to be rewarding. I mean,
I know. The Arts and Culture Alliance in Coeur d'Alene has a program called
Music for the Wise.
Music for the Wise. And the organization hires musicians to go into nursing homes and elderly facilities to perform for the elderly. And
I love
it's
that.
always so incredible. And it always gives me goosebumps when I talk about it. It's so incredibly moving to see the impact that this music has on these people, that really shows that music touches us right in our gut.
Yes.
And I love that program. So I can see the art part being equally as valuable.
Absolutely. Music and art go hand in hand, and they're wonderful resources to engage people with.
Yeah.
Add a little flair to your special events with Scraps Barbecue, a great catering choice for your next gathering. Specializing in golf tournaments, sporting events, weddings, and other family friend gatherings, their commercial kitchen can be on site, or you can choose to have a fully catered meal delivered right to you. Known for their authentic Santa Maria-style tri-tip and tequila lime fish tacos, they can customize the menu to meet your needs for groups of 20 to 2,500. Contact Kevin at kevin@scrapsbarbecue.com or check them out on Facebook.
For all your screen printing needs, trust the local you can count on. Pyramid Printing has been a Coeur d'Alene favorite for over 2 decades.
Specializing in screen printing, embroidery, signs, banners, and stickers. For all jobs, big and small, just give Eric a call.
Email us at info@pyramidprintingcda.com or give us a call at 208-664-0254.
pyramidprintingcda.com.
You recently were involved in a fundraiser that's for the Confluence Gallery.
Yes.
And it's called the Trashin' Show.
Yes.
Which is similar to, or the whole concept is similar to a program that we have that benefits the Environmental Alliance in Coeur d'Alene called Junk to Funk. But I want to hear all of it. I feel like your Trashin' Show took it to the next level. So I want to hear all about that.
It is a phenomenal event. It is a huge dance party, community celebration, a very important fundraiser for the Confluence Gallery, and just a chance for people to really identify what is coming into our lives that ends up in the landfill.
Right.
So much.
Oh, yeah.
And how might we repurpose that in a fun way to entertain ourselves and each other and stretch our creative boundaries.
Right.
So every year, I think this has been going on for 15 years.
Wow.
And I am a newbie participating in it. This was my first year.
Okay.
And it was so much fun. It is a lot of hard work creating a costume that is good enough to be in the Trashin' Show, because the models and designers that participate have really raised the bar. Oh my gosh. We went last year for the first time and my mind was blown.
Wow.
It's the talent and the creativity that goes into this event. I think that people, not everybody, but I think there's a lot of designers and artists that start working on their costumes a year in advance.
Oh, wow.
That's serious.
Yeah.
It's a serious fashion.
Yeah,
The Trashin'.
It's a beautiful thing to watch, and it is just pure joy. So, I have never been on a runway before.
Wow.
But when I was
you were the model. Okay.
And I collaborated. It was sort of a design brain meld with my dear friend Nancy Rule. She's in Seattle, and she is an artist in her own right. She is a weaver and a musician and tap dancer and circus arts. I mean, she's great. And I asked her if she would like to be my partner in this, because I knew that I don't have the sewing skills. I don't have the chops to do what I had in my brain. So my original ask was I wanted to use all of my paintings and woodblock print proofs from undergraduate school. So I've been carrying around these unstretched canvases and pieces of mulberry paper for 30 years and out of sentimentality, not doing anything with them, not looking at them. And gradually, a little bit each year or every couple of years, I'll throw a few more away. They go to the landfill.
Right.
Nobody really wants them. They're unrolled canvases.
Right.
So I decided rather than doing that one more time, taking another load to the dump, that I wanted to repurpose them. And so that's what we used. We used my oil paintings, my woodblock prints, and my old paintbrushes that I'd also been saving.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
I can't wait to see this.
I know.
So Nancy took the lead with the design, and her partner Doug was her right-hand person, her assistant, because there was a lot to it. And my partner James made my headdress, which I designed, he created, and then various friends contributed this and that. Time, energy, effort, wigs, you name it. makeup.
Sounds like how many people participate?
This year there were 10 model designer teams.
Wow.
So, yeah,
That's fun.
It was a blast. It
Yeah.
was a blast. It was super, super fun.
Don Ashford said he
it's the party.
participated
Yes.
this year, and he
Oh my
said there were like
gosh.
500 people there or something.
Yeah, they sold out in 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's that popular.
Oh, that is amazing.
it's
and then how does
incredible.
it? I mean, I understand that somebody wins like the top prize. So how does that work?
Well, so you go in the night before in your costume just to meet the judges and then to practice walking on the runway.
Okay.
And so the real judging happens that night, but they leave. There are prizes for whoever uses the most trash, right, to create your costume.
Oh my God.
Best strut. So that's actually judged the night of the show, of course. What else? First prize, second prize, third prize, best strut, most recycled. I might be forgetting a prize or two, but that's generally it. Our team won second.
Yay!
I know, it was
Pretty
a big,
good.
big
That's
shock.
a big deal.
But the winner, oh my gosh, Medical Marie, her whole costume was made of medical waste. Like,
Oh, wow.
So just to give you just an idea, her gown, I can't even like describe the it was just fabulous. But she had a parasol and she was like Marie Antoinette, and her costume was completely made of oxygen tubes that were sewn together.
Wow.
It was incredible.
That's amazing.
That was her gown. It was beautiful.
Oh my
Beautiful
goodness.
and sexy.
The lady that we met at the Confluence Gallery earlier today told us that now they have all the photos on their website.
yes.
So we'll be posting a link to
how
that
great.
so people
Oh my
can
gosh.
actually see
Yeah.
what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh, and Steve Mitchell, got to give a shout out to him. He was the photographer, and he's a fantastic artist in his own right. Fantastic photographer, but he did such a great job.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fun. It
I
sounds
love
like a
that.
fun night.
I know it happened the weekend before we came. So
I know.
I'm just so
but we
sad.
probably couldn't get tickets because they sold
Oh
out.
yeah, because they sold.
Well, if you get on the Confluence Gallery's mailing list, they'll give you the heads up.
I
Yes,
think we did.
Email.
we did.
We signed up.
Yeah.
So now you'll know. And
Yeah.
you can
And
come
we'll
back.
next year. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, because oh man, we're so impressed with this area.
Yeah. Just everyone.
You know,
we've
Coeur
met.
d'Alene is a growing art community too, so we love that. But coming to another little area that has really raised the bar with their art community is
Impressive.
Really impressive.
Thank you for doing
Yeah.
that. I mean, thank you for coming all of this way
Oh,
to like
absolutely.
highlight this region.
Oh, it's so
There
nice.
are so many amazing people here.
Well, and it's always fun to see art that you might not see in your town. I mean, we've seen all the artists in our town.
Yeah.
I mean,
Over and over.
over and over, and we love them. And don't get me wrong, but it's so nice to see different.
Yeah.
and it's just
And new.
and new.
Yeah.
I
that's
mean,
how we stay inspired.
and I mean, I was in Italy last year, and I was like, "Oh my God, I've never seen this before." You know,
Right.
it's just so great to. And this is not that far from us. I
No,
mean,
it's not.
We were like 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not
whatever.
bad at all.
Not that far,
Yeah.
but it's just. It feels like we're states away, and we're really not.
I know, right?
But the art is different. There's a different style here, and there's just. But I love it.
And there's a different approach to
Yeah.
it here, which feels really good. It's
I just
like
love it.
I want to take some of this back.
Yeah,
because
Say,
it
look
just-
what we found.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
And
that.
we did.
It's fun. Yeah,
And we did. We bought some.
we did. Yes, because
Yeah.
I can't help myself.
Yeah.
There's I can help myself.
I
but-
know. We have a little problem.
That's okay. That's a good kind of problem to have.
But,
Support your local artists.
please do. And we
Amen.
did see your art in the co-op.
The Winthrop Gallery.
The Winthrop
Yes,
Gallery.
yes.
Very sweet. Like that birdie, that little birdie. It's
Oh, yes,
The
yes.
three of them
Oh,
together.
right, yeah.
Very sweet. And that's the layering.
Yes, that's woodblock print over oil with acrylic on top.
Yeah.
Wow.
So sweet. Yeah. We'll
Actually,
take
I said
pictures.
that backwards.
Oh, you did.
Acrylic on the bottom, wood block in the middle, oil on top.
I was going to say, does acrylic go on top of oil very well?
I just totally
think so,
misspoke,
right?
and I heard it in my head. I'm like, you didn't do that.
That's not right. That's not right.
I have a
That's okay.
funny story to tell you. My mother, who is a really awesome artist, she actually was an artist in the Philadelphia area for quite a while.
Wow.
She went to Ohio State and got her degree there. And now she lives in Gainesville, Virginia, and she has a studio at the Workhouse, which is the former Lorton prison. And they turned it into art studios. It's really, really cool.
Yeah,
and
very
she's very,
Wait.
very talented.
Outside of Philly?
Yeah.
No,
it's
outside of Gainesville, Virginia.
Oh, okay, because there's a big prison outside of Philly, too, that's quite amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
They
wow.
should turn them all into.
Yeah,
I
I
know,
know.
that's
We
the
should
studios.
yeah,
Wow,
take a
awesome.
negative and turn it into
Yeah.
a positive.
Yeah.
Anyway, she came to visit me, and oh my God, she started taking my stuff and putting it in the garbage. And she said, well, if you're going to be an Airbnb, you're going to have to simplify your house. And I said, Mom, when did I say I wanted to be an Airbnb? And I'm pulling my things out of the garbage. And then she had this box where she had packed up artwork that I had bought to take somewhere. And I said,
Wow.
this is not working, Mom.
You need to let.
Yep. So I said,
Keep your
you know
hands
what?
off my
I told
art.
my husband we need to set her up in an art studio in the basement. So that's what we took her to the Spokane Art Supply, and she went crazy getting art supplies, put her in the basement. And the canvases that I had were acrylic paintings that I had done when I was in school, and I gave them to her and I said, these are your canvases, do what you want. And she painted oil over
Acrylic?
Sorry.
Oil.
I went backwards too. They were oil paintings. She painted acrylic over the oil. She started with white gesso over the entire painting. Then she started scraping it. And then she went, oh my God, they're my favorite paintings of hers.
Oh, my God.
But it got her away from throwing my stuff away.
I love that. You gave her a detour.
I did.
this.
And
Do
she
this.
is not suffering from
Sidetrack.
dementia. She's just suffering from airheadedness.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she's great. We love Mary.
know.
We
Being
love
a mom.
Mary.
You know?
I know.
We love
She's
her.
funny.
Yeah. What's your favorite piece of work that you've done? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Do you have a
gosh.
favorite?
Oh, boy.
I see my favorite in this room.
You know what? That's a really hard question.
I know. Or
Because
something you're the most proud of.
Yeah. When I have a lot of fun creating a painting, that ends up being what I feel the most attached to, because there's just a lot of joy that I felt when I was making it. And then when I look at it, when I'm finished, I can still feel that joy. And I tend to be able to access that when I'm doing the figure quite. So I haven't been doing a lot of figurative work lately, but when I do work on the figure, it's very personal, and I tend to really be attached to those pieces, and it's really interesting because there's just a couple of collectors that have most of them, and I love that because they end up going together. Like one person has 3 really important figure paintings that I did that I just were very personal and held a lot of joy for me, and he bought those 3, and so that was really I was very, very proud's probably the wrong word, but very happy about that, and very satisfied that those paintings stayed together. They went to someone that really appreciated them, and to me, when that connection is made, you know, that's what it's all about. Art is about communicating. I paint because there's a part of me that I want to share, and I want to be heard and seen. And so when I feel like that happens, those pieces that make those connections have more meaning for me.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, that's
great.
kind of a long-winded answer to what's your favorite
No,
piece.
but that's great. No,
But
that
it
makes
works
sense.
because I'm sure that changes from
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
you
But
grow
that's the essence of why I become attached to a piece, is if I feel like it communicates effectively. Thank
Well,
you.
tell us how can people find you?
Oh, okay. Well, if you're in the Methow Valley, the Winthrop Gallery and the Confluence Gallery typically have my work. My studio in Mazama, you can come here anytime. I love studio visits. And I usually have work up at Riso, which is a wine bar right now. And I also am a member of Women Painters of Washington, so I do show throughout Washington in different capacities. The way to kind of track me down is to go to my website, which is janetfagan.com, and I will usually have show information there, or if you follow me on Instagram, I always post about current things that are going on, current exhibits.
So is it Janet Fagan on Instagram also?
Janet Fagan Artist.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm following.
I know.
I
You guys are the best.
Well, I love it.
We already stalked you a little bit.
Yeah, we did. I was like,
I love your work. Well, we really appreciate you having us in your studio.
Yes.
I can't wait to see the Trashin' outfit and really look at some more of your work.
Well, that appreciation is mutual. Thank you so much for coming to the Valley.
Absolutely.
And I just so enjoyed my time talking with you.
I know.
We did too.
So fun.
And those dang donuts.
Right?
Dang
right?
donuts. Man.
Dama and Mazama.
Dama and Mazama. Don't forget your pajamas. Which I did.
Pajamas. Yeah. She did. Kelly forgot her pajamas. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, this has been delightful.
Yeah, this
so
has been
great.
wonderful.
So don't forget to go to Janet's website.
JanetFagan.com.
And her
Thank you.
Instagram.
Janet Fagan Artist.
Yes. And check out her stuff because it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's probably one of my favorites.
Right.
I have a thing. It's like, it gets me. You know how I get?
She'll start crying.
I'm a crier. I like it's the blending, it's the colors. It's
Thank
just
you.
It really gets me.
Thank
you. Appreciate it. Anyway,
So I'm Allie.
and I'm Callie, and whatever you do today, make sure it's creative.
And go outside and
Yeah.
experience the earth.
Yes.
The Allie and Callie Artcast is sponsored in part by Tubbs Coffee Roasters, globally sourced, locally roasted coffee. Scraps Barbecue, a locally owned catering company. The Ovation Company, standing for what is right and good. And Pyramid Printing, a Coeur d'Alene favorite for over 2 decades.